Hey folks, welcome back to Game Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're going over some layoffs. Most of them are actually Ubisoft, but we're going to take a look at the Obsidian layoff tracker too at the end. But we're going to work through Ubisoft first. We're going to work through each studio and some of the games that they're working on and upcoming, and then we're also going to take a look at Meta with some of the stuff that they're having going on. And like and sub, all that jazz, but yeah, here we go. So currently, one of the first things we got to hear was actually the closure, not just layoffs, but actual closure of Halifax, which was kind of surprising. So yeah, again, Ubisoft is continuing to, and we haven't even gotten to Xbox layoffs yet. Those are coming too. We already know that. But yeah, these companies are continuing to do layoffs. But anyway, Ubisoft is part of a 24-month restructuring process. They're not going to let go of everybody. They're going to let some games finish. Maybe they'll cancel some stuff as well. But yeah, they're continuing their restructure organization into 2026. And it's right here at the beginning of the year. So Halifax Studio was actually closed down after, literally days after unionizing. There's roughly 71 people that lost their jobs. They're not going to be reintegrated. They're not going to go somewhere else within Ubisoft. They're literally just done. And the thing that sucks is, we found out, too, that the union is, of course, quite upset, as they normally are. And, yeah, in Canada, quote, it is unlawful for any business to close because its workers decide to unionize. While we are not saying that this is what happened here, we will be demanding information from Ubisoft about the reason for the sudden decision to close. We will pursue every legal resource to ensure that the rights of those workers are respected and not infringed in any way. We will be looking for Ubisoft to show us that this had nothing to do with the employees joining a union, which most of them did. Not all, but most. The workers, their families, and people of Nova Scotia, and all of us who love video games made in Canada deserve nothing less. And yeah, this is the thing that's frustrating, because it was literally days. I mean, they got their certification of the union in December 18th. And now it's being closed. And Ubisoft said, over the past 24 months, we're going to be undertaking company-wide actions and streamlining the process, improve efficiency, and reduce costs. Again, we've been hearing this basically since October of 2022 when layoffs started happening in the gaming industry. And again, this is not the only industry. It's just all over the place. But yeah, we are committed to supporting all impacted team members during this transition with resources including comprehensive severance packages and additional career assistance, basically helping them find jobs, career fairs, whatever. And the thing is, I was kind of curious, Halifax Studios, well, what did they make? Well, they worked on making Assassin's Creed Rebellion, which is a mobile game, and they are a mobile studio, by the way. But yeah, Rebellion is being put on ice after the studio is closed. And this was on the 7th. Ubisoft is closing the specialist mobile studio of Halifax in Canada, and its last remaining mobile-first Assassin's Creed game, Rebellion, will no longer receive any further updates or live ops, and this game was launched in 2018. So we're heading toward 8 years, okay? It's been around for a long time. Reports suggest that 71 of the staff at Ubisoft Halifax are set to lose their jobs, and Rebellion will no longer receive any further updates or live ops according to those reports. Halifax is also one of the many studios working on Rainbow Six Mobile, which is slated for release next month. So they're not necessarily heading up the entire project. They're just working, helping be contracted out, basically, for Rainbow Six Mobile. And let's take a look at mobile. Well, yeah, it's going to basically launch in February 23rd of 2026 for iOS and Android. And yeah, it's basically Rainbow Six Siege on your phone. That's the idea. But again, they're just a support studio, and the bulk of the work is done now. So when we take, and again, I'm not necessarily defending anything, but I just want to look at the whole picture here, because Halifax doesn't have anything to look forward to. As far as we know, there's no game. They've already probably finished their work on Rainbow Six Siege Mobile, basically. And then also Rebellion, it's already been out for almost 8 years. It's probably kind of a dead game. Let's be real. When we take a look at Metacritic, they got basically an average 6 out of 10 for Rebellion. And so, yeah, they just don't have anything to work on. But I'm not saying that it's not because also, too, of the unionization or that it didn't play a role. My opinion is that it probably played into both. It's both. The studio is kind of dragging down weight, isn't really doing anything, and also the other thing of, oh, now they're unionizing, and that's ultimately going to cost more money. So yes, I believe it's both, but Ubisoft is going to, basically prove or provide information that, yeah, there was nothing going forward. They'll have their paper trails. This is how corporates are just with their employees today. But yeah, unionization probably had something to do with it, and it sucks. I mean, they're going to have to figure that out to try to get some other job. But there's a lot of companies, big and small. A lot of them we don't even hear about. We'll see that too with the layoff tracker later. But yeah, they're just not really getting a ton of stuff. There's just not a lot out there, and there are a lot of layoffs happening. Also, too, under IGN's report, Ubisoft has proposed an organizational restructure that will impact 55 employees across its Swedish studios. So they're kind of specifically targeting certain regions and just calling it quits. So one of them is Massive Entertainment, and the other is Ubisoft Stockholm. As far as I understand, they're not closing, they're just having some layoffs. The proposal came after its voluntary leave program, which I don't know if I personally didn't cover that. I think I talked about that a little bit or made a post maybe. But yeah, that was a while back. Voluntary layoffs always lead to actual layoffs because not enough people leave, right? Because they know that the economy is getting worse. They don't want to leave. But it's usually better if, at least historically speaking, you take the voluntary layoff because you're going to get more than if you just actually get fired. And yeah, providing the reason was clearer visibility to the structure and capacity required to support the two studios' work and sustainability over time. So basically, it was going to cost too much. It wasn't going to bring in enough profit. And if we take a look at Ubisoft, yeah, they're not making a ton of profit. I have another video actually taking a look at that because while the closures and layoffs and canceled games are frustrating, and even sometimes just very tightly correlated to some other theories out there, we can see at least that with record revenues, they're not turning into record profits. And that's something that I don't think is talked about enough. So if you're interested, that video will be at the end screen at the end of this video. So yeah, we're just losing some more people. And we're finding out too, let me continue here, is that Outlaws was actually a failure. Finally, we're getting some admittance on this. The company's CEO, Yves Guillemot, openly admitted that Star Wars Outlaws was a failure. He blamed the poor state of affairs on the weak condition of the franchise, basically Star Wars sucks, which I agree, and the game's lack of polish, which, again, really doesn't make a ton of sense because we already had 10 months for them to work on it. They already delayed it from 2022 into 2023, which I did review, by the way, and holy frick. Well, yeah, was it bad, empty, boring? Man, it just kind of seemed like stuff was slapped together. And while some stuff was cool, okay, like the art direction and the design and layouts and stuff, that was neat. Like walking up to a turbo blaster laser, that was really cool, and seeing that tower. But again, as a game, there just wasn't much there, for my opinion. And you guys actually voted for that. If you're interested, watching that 2 years ago, I guess, I will also put that on the end screen as well so that you guys can watch my review if you'd like. But yeah, that was just totally a mess. This year, you guys voted for The Expanse, Osiris Reborn. And if that ends up being delayed, then we'll do Lords of the Fallen 2, which you guys also voted for. But yeah, ultimately, Star Wars Outlaws was a failure. What we've been reading and hearing about over the last 12 months is that it cost over $100 million in negative profit. Basically, they lost that money. And then Assassin's Creed was not able to bolster it up, even with the 4 months of polish that Assassin's Creed Shadows has. And while, Shadows was profitable for itself, it wasn't enough to cover the loss for Star Wars Outlaws, which is incredibly frustrating. So, yeah, this is just kind of ultimately brutal. Now, what we do know is that the Division franchise is still being worked on. We're going to get some more information from that. And yeah, Massive Entertainment is still working on this. But it's just the people that are probably already working on Division 3. And I think it's interesting that they think they can do more with less people and still have the same amount of output. And of course, dun, 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 that's freaking AI. So we all know that story. AI is literally not going away. Yes, I would be worried if you work on a computer that AI is coming for your job. because AI is ultimately getting better and more companies are still using that. We're hearing that from Microsoft's earning calls with the amount of corporate companies that want to use AI agents and all of this other stuff. So, yeah, that's not going away. And if you're in this type of industry or you're in artwork or whatever, it's tough because even just people like YouTubers or VTubers or whatever, they can just make their own AI art that they need now. And it's good enough. The views and the numbers, they show that, is that people ultimately don't care anymore. And I think while we go through 2026, AI is just going to be accepted. Whether it's just AI tools for the development or that there's actual AI made content in the games, people are just going to play them anyway. Whether it's Battlefield 6, whether it's Arc Raiders, whether it's, Larian Studios using AI tools, whether it's AI use for Expedition 33. I just don't think it really matters anymore because people are still praising these games, praising these studios, and yeah, they're realizing that they're just having a total quandary there, understanding that they're supporting AI use when they say that they hate it. It's completely backwards, and I don't necessarily like it either. I think we certainly need the soul to stay in artwork. But yeah, this is just the reality of where we're at. So that's probably why the layoffs are actually happening is, yeah, probably because of AI use. That's just going to continue. And why Halifax isn't going to be around anymore because, yeah, this game's done. And the work for Siege is for Rainbow Six Mobile is finished. I mean, it's literally going to launch next month. So there was some other news, though, that I did is that Sands of Time, apparently the remake, is coming fairly soon. It's, quote, very close and will be released before Splinter Cell remake. So apparently they're still, making the Splinter Cell remake too. But again, we just haven't heard anything. And also Ubisoft usually has a showcase after the Game Awards, and that didn't happen. We're in January now, and we still haven't heard anything. So the only thing we have looking forward to this month is the Xbox Partner Showcase. So we'll see what happens there. That'll be on the 22nd, and I will cover that. Also, too, Meta is closing multiple studios and laying off staff. What we're seeing is that, yeah, we have Twisted Pixel. They'll be shutting down, and Sanzaru Games, too. They're also going to be disappearing. Now, Twisted Pixel, they recently released Deadpool VR for MetaQuest 3, and for Zanzu, they developed highly regarded Asgard's Wrath and Asgard's Wrath 2. But again, VR just really is not taking off like they thought it would. Even just the metaverse only has hundreds of users in it, and it's just not a technology that people really into at this point. And even the PlayStation, PSVR 2, well, they've unlocked it. It can be used now also on PCs because they just need to sell the units, and it way, way undersold even just what their expectations were. I think for launch, they were expecting 2 million units to be sold, and it only sold 500,000. And they had layoffs with that too over at Sony because it's like, yeah, people are just not into that. People still want to sit in front of a screen, whether it's mobile, whether it's their computer, or whether it's console, and just actually play their video games. Maybe going into the future with like Gen Beta or something, like my daughter, yeah, maybe we'll actually move forward on that or something. But yeah, this is just kind of a mess. So yeah, they're laying off stuff too. And remember too, like Netflix and YouTube and Meta, I mean, they're all getting into gaming, right? Because it was getting big. There was a lot of revenue there. And I mean, it's almost $500 billion a year. It's almost 500 billion a year. But things have been slowing down for a few years, and that's why we're seeing these closures and layoffs. And as you can see, let me just go through 2025. There's a lot. I mean, it's brutal. And again, it's some of it's layoffs, some of it's closures, but it's mobile, it's indie, it's console, it's PC, it's VR, it's all of them. And this is just ultimately what we're seeing in the industry. That was in 2025 with over 5,000 to be laid off. 2026 is already starting off with a bang with roughly 350. And we're seeing that from the Game Band, Cloudhead, Halifax, Camouflage, Gen Zero, Twisted Pixel, Supernatural, which is also Meta as well. Just don't know how many yet, and then Amateur Studio. So yeah, Meta is working through 5 of them, and they're all VR. So yeah, that's huge. And then Cloudhead, I'm not sure who they're a part of. Maybe they're independent, but they're VR as well. And then Halifax, and the game band, they're mobile. So yeah, things that just are not making as much money, don't show much promise, they're just being cut. Yeah, they're just being cut, and I still think we'll see layoffs in AA. I still think we'll see layoffs in AAA too, like BioWare or EA or whatever, and probably still Ubisoft because yeah, these companies they're just not making enough money, and regardless of how you feel about it, this is just the reality. This is the truth of the matter, and there's just not much we can do about it. So do as much as you can, learn as much as you can, try to be versatile regardless of industry, because yeah, I don't think it really matters. Keep that resume handy. We just had some friends too just get laid off too, and yeah, this is just happening all over the world. Whether it's outsourcing to AI, whether there's just not enough demand in the industry, whatever. It's just all kind of a mess. So there you go, folks. More layoffs starting the year good. With that, folks, you can follow me at Gaming Garbage 22 if you'd like. And there's various content every single week. And if something's not for you, you can just skip right on through. That's okay. There's always something coming down the pipe. If you're interested too, there's also playlists as well for the playthroughs also. And yeah, you can find all of that on YouTube. Just click on the tab. You can also follow me over at Twitch if you'd like. Don't tread on thee. And yeah, when I'm playing video games, I definitely chat with you guys. Just chat first and let me know that you're interested. I'll definitely chat back. And if you'd rather to be a silent partner, that is perfectly okay. I have no issues with that. Currently also going through Dead Space, which you guys voted for, just for the franchise to go through. Go through Dead Space 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the remake. We will have the game that we're going to review, which you guys also voted for. Thank you for that as well. That will be, well, we don't have a release date yet. And again, if it is delayed, we'll be doing Lords of the Fallen 2. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting and kind of rough year for folks and for franchise too. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that, folks. I'll see you guys on the next one.